I think people are interested in case studies in general. And so when you put it into video form and turn it into a story that they can sit and watch, I mean, I think those have done really well for us personally. I know they've done well for our customers as well, and something that people always respond very positively to.
Thanks for tuning in to the Email Marketing Podcast mini-series, delivering impactful insights in just about 10 minutes. I'm excited today to be joined by Tony Gnau, healthcare video expert, #1 best-selling author on Amazon, and Emmy award-winning videographer and all-around video all-star. Tony, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so obviously we're talking about email marketing, but as a video expert, I'd love to get your insights on using video in email. So should marketers be using video in their email?
Only if they want people to open their emails. Yeah, no, absolutely. They absolutely should. We all get a ton of different emails, and one way to really distinguish yourself from all of those other emails that are finding their way into people's inboxes is to have some sort of a video for them to watch. So it's a great way to set yourself apart from the crowd.
Awesome. So one of the big questions that I often hear is how to successfully use video in email. So do you put a thumbnail with a play button? Do you actually embed a video? Can you talk about the logistics of using video in email a little bit more?
I would definitely go with your first route. I would go with making an image of some sort that you feel like is going to attract people, put a play button on it, and link to your video. I know certain email applications, you can actually embed the link in the image. Some you can't. So if you can't, then make sure to put a link directly below the video that says, click this link to watch the video or something like that. But yeah, some sort of an image that is going to attract them with a play button on it, and do it that way. Because while you can embed a video in your email, even if you compress that video, it's still going to be a super large file. And, the bigger the files you attach to your emails, you might get spam filters that will try to filter out that sort of thing. So you don't want that to happen, obviously. So I just go with the image and link it back to a web page or a landing page or, something that you have that they can actually watch the video from there.
Awesome. Great tips. So when we're thinking about the different types of email, so a sales email, a re-engagement email, an e-newsletter, can you talk about a few examples of using video or the types of videos that you've created that have helped those specific types of emails be successful?
Sure. I think that initial email, like if you're trying to get somebody to go to a landing page or something along those lines, I mean, if you can provide them with some sort of a story, some sort of a video that's going to tell a story, that's like a great thing to do. But then depending on where they are, in your automation lineup with your emails, I mean, even just a simple getting on camera and saying something like, hey, I think you missed that last email that we sent you can be a really effective thing. And the more you can personalize it to the individual, the better. If you just want to create a 10-second video addressing the person you're actually sending that email to, that's a huge thing in terms of personalization. Now, if you've got 100 people that haven't opened their emails or whatever, you're probably not going to do that for 100 people. But if you have a few very specific people that you're like, man, I would really love to get this in front of them, then doing some sort of a personalized video is a great way to go about doing that.
Awesome insight. So I think one of the barriers, people feel this barrier to video, like they need this fancy equipment, they need all of this stuff. But
Yeah.
those types of videos that you're talking about, those unique personalization type of videos, how would somebody do that? Or what would be your recommendations for them to shoot that video? What are some of those barriers that we can rip down to make this tangible? There you go. Yeah.
Well, pull out your phone and shoot your video. I mean, honestly, it doesn't have to be anything complicated when you're doing one of those more personalized type videos, even if it's not going to be personalized to the individual. If you just want to do, hey, this is going to go to the 100 people that didn't open our emails or the 1,000 people, whatever it might be. then go ahead and just do a video just with your phone. Just tell them, hey, I think you missed this email. I think it's something that you will really appreciate, or I think it's something that's beneficial to you, and just do a short little 10-second video like that. Just use your phone. It is totally fine. Make sure to maybe do it in a quiet environment. Like you don't want to do it where there's lots of background noise or something like that. But other than that, don't get too fancy about it. Make sure you have light on your face so that you're not, have funky shadows going on or you're in silhouette in some way. But it really doesn't have to be that complicated.
Right. And just letting people try. So,
Yeah.
here are the tools you need and give it a try and test, right? We're always trying to
Mhm.
test and see what works.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, can you think of an example of a video that went over really well in either one of your campaigns that you've done for your brand or for a client? Just give an example of how do you like best possible use case for video in email.
One of our favorite types of videos that we produce are case study videos where you've taken the classic case study that you've seen at somebody's web page or website or something, and basically put it into video form. Like you really tell the story of that case study. Those do really well in my experience. Like, people are really interested. I think people are interested in case studies in general, and so when you put it into video form and turn it into a story that they can sit and watch, I mean, I think those have done really well for us personally. I know they've done well for our customers as well, and something that people always respond very positively to.
Yeah, that's great insight. I totally agree. That storytelling approach that I know you
Mhm.
take a lot with your videos, but getting behind the scenes, not necessarily talking about a product or service and why it's so great, but instead focusing on the value to the end user. So I think
You just
video.
said behind the scenes, and I mean, I think that is the key to a lot of the videos that we produce. It's like people wanna know what's going on behind the scenes, and video is a great way to literally take them there so that they feel like they're a part of whatever it might be. So I love that you said that.
Nice. Awesome. So, any last advice that you would have for somebody who's just starting to think about getting into creating video for their brand or using video in email in particular?
I think there's 2 things. First and foremost, you talked about that there's barriers to getting into it. I think the biggest barrier is usually just us, It doesn't have anything to do with what camera do I use and all of that, because you can figure that stuff out. And it's really just us getting down and actually doing it and actually producing the videos. And I would say just start with something basic and work your way up. And give yourself some grace. Don't expect yourself to produce these amazing storytelling videos. You might need help with something like that. You might not be able to do that on your own. But these very basic videos of just getting on camera and talking, literally talking to the people at the other end of that email is totally something you can do yourself. It doesn't need to be some big high production value kind of thing. And just start doing it. And it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the easier it'll feel, and you'll start getting positive results.
Awesome. So I think everyone now is turning this podcast off and running to find their phone, so
I
that
hope
they
so.
can so they can record some one-on-one videos. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate all of your insights, and I was so glad to have you as a guest on today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I'll plan to post all the connection links you'll need to reach out to Tony directly for more information in the show notes. And thank you so much for listening.